This is the 2020 Subaru XV Hybrid. Now what I'm going to do in this review is I'm going to break it up into the good things and the not so good things. By the end of it, you're going to know what's small about it. It's the tiniest thing I've ever seen in my life. What that noise is, like something's caught in the wheel. And how much fuel you'll actually save. Seriously, I am struggling to see what the point of the XV Hybrid is. If you want to read the full review, go to carsguide.com.au. Ready? Let's begin with the good things. The looks. The new Gen XV arrived in Australia in mid-2017. See, there it is arriving, and that's me freezing. I don't have a beard. Skip forward to now and the design hasn't changed since then, which is fine because I like the XV's modern and rugged Pokemon-like looks. The Hybrid has its own styling elements, like the black slim roof rails and the matte silver elements around the fog lights and the grille. And then there's that e-Boxer badge. And only the Hybrid is allowed to wear this lagoon blue paint, which makes it look like a breath mint. These are all good things, and there are more inside. The XV Hybrid's cabin has the same super well-built premium feeling interior all Subarus have. Yes, there's plastics, but they feel lovely. Do you know what else is good? The size. Good for the city, where parking is harder to find than the end of the rainbow. Oh, no, you're not gonna fit there. Oh, well, no, that's interesting. No, creative, yep. Oh, no, right. Yeah, look, just, no, it's not gonna. And when you do find a spot, it's tiny. But the XV is less than 4.5 meters long, and it should fit in most places. Then there's the ground clearance, 220 millimeters. That's good. That's very, very good. That's better than the Kia Seltos, better than the Toyota CHR, better than the Suzuki Vitara. And the reason why it's good is because that great ground clearance means that you can do things like this. You can go places that would tear the guts out of those other rivals. And that brings me to another good point about the Subaru XV Hybrid, the all-wheel drive system. Yes, the Subaru XV Hybrid might be the hybrid version of the XV family, but it still has Subaru's excellent symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Seriously, it is one of the most sure-footed systems I have ever driven. It's excellent, and there's an X mode button down here that when you press it, it manages the engine, the transmission, and the drive to the wheels to make sure that traction is always kept at an optimum. Fantastic. And when you head back onto the road, as we're doing right now, that all-wheel drive system is excellent for safety too. All right, let's talk about safety because that is another good point of the XV Hybrid. In fact, I reckon it's probably the best point of the XV Hybrid. You're getting standard AEB, which works backwards and forwards. You get blind spot warning, you get rear cross traffic alert, you get auto high beams. Now, none of the other grades apart from the top grade XV come with that level of safety equipment. Only the top of the range one does, and the Hybrid. That's on top of stuff like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, and lane departure warning. That's outstanding. Another good thing about the XV Hybrid is the way it drives on the road. You are gonna love it. Seriously, I have driven billions of small SUVs, and for the price bracket, none of them handle this well. I'm absolutely serious. The suspension has been sorted out perfectly. It's got a low center of mass because it's got a boxer engine, which means it doesn't tilt and wobble when it goes around corners. It feels very planted. The steering is good. It's not too heavy, not too light. It's just right. Visibility is great. All Subarus have great visibility. You can see around perfectly. The only thing that I think you might pick up on is the suspension is a little bit firm. So your ride is a little bit harsh over coarse chip bitumen or potholes in your area, that type of thing. Now, one of my main gripes with this straight petrol XV is that it just seemed to lack grunt. Look, that's not totally fair. I think really the engine was fine. It was the fault of the CVT. The CVT stands for continuously variable transmission. They're a type of transmission and they do nothing for the driving experience. They seem to take all the power and torque and just out the window, rather than send it to the wheels where it should go. So your acceleration is just woeful in most CVT cars, but not the case with the Hybrid. Yes, it does have a CVT, but it has an electric motor as well. So when you put your foot down like now, the electric motor joins forces with the petrol engine, and you get these little shoves of electric grunt, which are fantastic. You dab the accelerator and you sort of surge forward. You did not get that at all in the petrol version of the XV. So if driving is your thing, then the hybrid is your thing. And now we get to the hybrid system, which is good and also not so good. What you have is a 4-cylinder engine under the bonnet. It has almost the same grunt as the regular straight petrol XVs. And down here in the transmission is a built-in electric motor. And under the boot floor are the batteries. This isn't a plug-in hybrid, no. The batteries charge up by regenerative braking. Now the good part about the hybrid system is that at speeds of under 40 kilometers an hour, you can travel around on battery power alone. And it makes this futuristic hum to let people know you're coming. Can you hear it? It's like somebody scratching their nails down a blackboard. It's good, creepy good. And when you put your foot down, the engine kicks in. It's a bit of a rough transition though. That's not so good. The hybrid CHR does a much smoother job of it. What's not so good about the XV hybrid is the fuel economy. Yep, the one thing which should be the best thing is actually probably the worst thing. That's because Subaru says that after combined driving conditions, and that means open roads, motorways, country roads, city, urban, the lot, the XV hybrid should use 6.5 litres of petrol for every 100 kilometres. Now, to let you know how ordinary that is, and by ordinary I mean bad, the regular straight petrol version of the XV does 7 litres per 100. So this car, the hybrid, is only half a litre better over 100 kilometres than the straight petrol car. The Toyota CHR hybrid does something like 4.3 litres per 100 after combined roads. 6.5. Now, just looking at how we're going now, just off the trip meter, we've done 221.1 kilometres, and that's been a lot of country roads, a lot of city roads, not a lot of motorways. It's telling me right now that we've been using 9.6 litres per 100. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you will see what we recorded at the petrol station when we filled it up again, and that is the combined usage after we've thrown motorways in as well. Seriously, I am struggling to see what the point of the XV hybrid is if it doesn't get good fuel economy. Now, another not so good thing about the XV hybrid is the price. Yep. It lists for $35,580, which is a very expensive XV. It's right up there in the range. It only sits just below the top of the range car. Now, that's not so bad, but you're not getting a lot for your money. Now, let me pull over here and you'll see what you get in terms of standard features. Okay, coming standard on the XV hybrid are halogen headlights. Now, if you're going to be driving in the country on a dark road, these are super dim, so beware. There are also 17-inch alloy wheels, proximity unlocking, which is fantastic, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are also brilliant, digital radio, yeah, okay, meh, a 6-speaker stereo, push-button ignition, which is brilliant, a rear-view camera with a really good picture, privacy glass in the rear. Now parents will understand how good this is for kids in the back, and rain sensing wipers. Hello, I'm back again. It's not over yet. There's a little bit more to go, but I've just popped back to point out this screen. It's the tiniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a 6.5-inch screen. It's out of the base grade XV, and so's that single zone climate control. And you don't get built-in sat nav. You do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which you can use the maps out of. But this morning on the way here, my cord for my iPhone was broken, and I plugged it in and I couldn't access my phone, so I couldn't use my maps. And I don't want to offload my problems onto you. What I'm trying to say is it's a bit disappointing. What I do like though are these seats. They're premium cloth and they're snazzy and very comfortable too. Let me show you the back seats. Welcome to the back, where space is really good actually. Look, this seat's in my driving position. I'm 191 centimeters tall, which is 1.91 meters. And look how much room I've got. That's how much it is. That's incredible. And so is headroom. Pretty good too. You've got cup holders in the fold down armrest there, but nothing here. This is just a black piece of plastic. No directional air vents, no USB ports, and that's also not so good. Let me show you the boot. Are you ready for another not so good? Let me introduce you to the boot. It's a tiny 345 litres in cargo capacity, which is actually a little bit more than the regular petrol XV's boot. But what you don't get, that you do get in a petrol, is a spare wheel. Instead, you get this. And it tastes disgusting. That's because it's a puncture repair kit full of goo, and it's supposed to seal up the tyre when you get a flat one. And they don't always work. I've learnt that the hard way. So there you go. Now you know the good and the not so good things about the 2020 Subaru XV Hybrid. It's good looking, it's good to drive, it's got great safety, but it's not particularly good value for money. And the one area where it should be really good, fuel economy, could be a whole lot better.